This episode has content warnings for self-harm, violence and gore, graphic animal death, depictions of alcoholism, ableist language, misogynist language, gunshots, and murder. This show is for adult audiences only. Listener discretion is advised.
A little fucker don't let up. Keeps pecking like I'm already dead. The beak is sharp. Breaks through my open flesh like a probing finger. Comes away with a bit of meat. A drop of blood quivering off the tip. And it tosses its head back, fat feathered neck rolling. Gulps me down, all quick like. I didn't know crows ate people. Thought that was vultures. Go on, get, you little devil. I ain't for you. Ugh.
Did you see that? Excellent maneuvering, don't you think? Did you know that the man who sold me this wagon told me, and this I swear by my mother's right foot carved from the pirogue it was, he told me that a proper lady could never learn to drive a wagon. No, a pretty girl such as myself ought to be back at home, looking after the wee ones and keeping hearth for my husband. Well, you wouldn't believe the look on his face when I told him that I didn't have a husband. No sirree. Not only am I unwed, I am also a proficient driver of wagons, big and small. Well, say, are you aware that you are hanging from a tree?
What gave you that impression?
Only that you are, I don't know, hanging from a tree?
Isn't that something?
Well?
Well, what?
Would you like to come down?
What for?
Only that it's rather rude to be talking down to a person.
I'm afraid I don't have much of a choice in that matter.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean, mind your own damn business!
For both of our sakes, I did not hear such vulgar words pass your lips, good sir.
I mean it, lady. Scram!
My name is Daisy Gray. Dr. Daisy Gray. And before you ask, no, I am not a practicing physician. I am a student of the occult and preternatural phenomena, hailing from the State University of Elysium. I'm sure even a hardy, calloused man such as yourself would have heard of SUE.
I didn't ask! Like, if you don't get out of here...
I do apologize for interrupting whatever morbid quest you are currently undertaking. However, I seem to have misplaced my map. And by misplaced, I mean it blew away in the storm. I'm usually so careful with my belongings, especially prints and papers and the like, but it seems my luck has been sorely lacking these past few days. All this to say, if you can be so kind as to point me in the direction of mercy, I should be ever so grateful.
What you got in mercy?
Were you not listening? I am a student of the occult and preternatural phenomena. Such activities have been rife in mercy, have they not? I say, are you aware that a crow is making you its meal?
I'm aware.
Well, this won't do at all. Silly, stubborn men know naught but getting themselves killed. And I am a woman of upstanding morals and character.
No, wait!
You are so very welcome.
God damn it.
There is no need for language like that.
I didn't need rescuing.
It certainly looked like you
You
did.
fucking...
What is that?
You fucked us both, lady.
My name is Dr. Daisy Gray.
You need to ride that wagon out of here right this instant, Dr. Daisy Gray. You hear me?
What is that incessant laughter? What have you summoned?
I didn't summon nothing. Shit, it's too late. Drive!
What?
I said drive!
Yeah! I can hear it, but I can't see anything.
Just drive, goddammit!
This is no time for a drink! Not until you tell me what we are supposedly fleeing from!
I ain't drinking. This here's a strip of cloth and kerosene.
Whatever do you need that for?
For the thing we're fleeing from.
Which is?
I don't know what exactly, but I've been trying to catch it for weeks now. Would have burned it to coal if you hadn't shown up.
It doesn't sound like any beast I know.
This ain't in your textbooks, Professor. You said you were studying the occult and whatnot?
If I should survive today, yes, that is the goal.
Well, consider this your first taste then. Whatever this is, it's been causing trouble for the good folk of Bliss.
Bliss?
A small farming community 20 miles east of Mercy.
What kind of trouble?
Killing livestock, horses, dogs.
It could be any number of things. Wolves, bears.
The way it left the bodies, ain't no work of a wolf or a bear. Sucked them dry. All their blood, leaving shriveled husks like they've been left out in the sun for months.
But that's impossible.
Should be, but it ain't. A month ago, it moved on to people. Killed a farmhand in broad daylight, and no one saw a single thing. One moment he was feeding the pigs, the next, he was a dried up husk.
Surely this is all conjecture.
I saw his body for myself. Was paid to dig his grave when his mother asked me to find his killer. A deputy from Mercy rode on out. Took one look at the body and ruled it as heat-related death. But when I saw that body, I knew. Whatever killed him weren't natural.
Is that why you were strung up like that? You were, what, bait?
Till you came and ruined it, sure.
And how did you know it would come?
Blood. It draws it in. Smells it from miles away, I reckon.
Like a shark. That is a rather confident assertion.
I asked around. The only livestock that were killed were already injured. And Buck, well, he cut his hand earlier that day. Accident with a sickle. Wrapped it up and kept working. Bled right through the cloth.
So your plan was to set yourself up as bait, and when it came to consume your blood...
Set it alight with kerosene.
Were the ropes necessary?
I like a bit of theatrics.
Yes, I'm starting to realize that.
Go left, down that road.
That's all well and good, but the most pressing question remains. What manner of creature are we dealing with?
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's able to hide itself. Make itself invisible.
That is physically impossible.
And yet, there it is.
Do you know why I use the word preternatural?
This ain't the time for a lecture.
Because I believe the supernatural, the impossible, yet remains within the bounds of our physical reality. That is to say, we are witness to the miraculous metamorphoses of impossibility joining the realm of true possibility. And it is spectacular!
Hey. Hey, get up!
Ouch. I think I broke my everything.
Gray! Gray.
What is it?
I need you to move towards the wagon. Slowly. No sudden movements.
Where is it?
Go. Wagon. Now.
All right.
Fuck. No kerosene. Okay. Do it the old-fashioned way then. Like St. George and his dragon. Pull it down! Flip it down over us!
This is not how I imagined field work would be like!
Hold on to the wagon! Keep your head
I'm
down!
going to die! I've barely started my book and I'm going to die and fade into anonymity, and Daisy Gray will just be another poor sod that barely made it past 25, which, in all consideration, is a rather long lifespan, but I digress!
Gray!
I can hear it, but there's nothing. There's nothing.
Gray!
Tulip! Oh my god, it's eating Tulip.
I'm sorry, Gray.
Better him than us. Oh my god, it's...
And there it is. Ghastly red, bulging, engorged with Tulip's blood.
It's beautiful.
It has no face, no eyes. It floats in the sky like an immense, mindless jellyfish. Hundreds of long, thin tentacles sway beneath its pulsating body. And on the tips of each tentacle, a maw dripping blood under the churned up mud below. You ugly fucking bastard! I can feel its maw latch onto my shoulder. 100 jagged teeth dig into raw flesh, the tentacle pulsing and writhing as it sucks the very blood from my veins. It feels bad. It feels intimate, like it's not just my flesh it's wringing dry, but my soul too.
What a great big lug you are. Do you not know how to do anything? Papa says you're a fool. Are you a fool, Ahab?
Are you alive?
I think so.
Oh, bully! Hey, no, where are you going? Oh, bother. She's gone.
She?
This is a day for the history books. You and me, friend, we found an entirely new life form. One that defies the natural sciences as we know it. Or, rather, redefines all sciences.
It's not over. It'll be back.
Wonderful. Should I tie you to the tree again? You are sufficiently bloody enough so we can skip a step or two. I say, are you quite all right? You've gone rather pale.
I'm fine. I just...
Fuck. Oh, good. You're alive.
Seems like it.
How are you feeling?
Dizzy. Oh, okay. You did this?
Well, it is between ruining my clean skirt, my only clean skirt, mind you, or letting you bleed to death. It was an obvious choice.
Thank you.
But then I thought better of it and decided to ruin my good skirt. I wasn't quite prepared to bury a man so early on in my expedition. 3 times now, I've saved your life.
Yeah. You have. Thank you.
I don't even know your name. I only realized after I dragged you from the gates of hell. No offense, but you don't really seem like St. Peter's type. Oops, sorry. I suppose you're a bit sensitive after the encounter with the Letitia Medusa.
Laisha?
Letitia Medusa. Or in layman's terms, the mirthful jellyfish. It's not very creative, I know, but I struggle with names. Always have. Speaking of...
Sawyer.
Sawyer. Like Darwin? Or do you possibly have another name?
Sawyer'll do.
Very well, Mr. Sawyer. You must be wondering how you might even begin to repay me for saving your life not only once, but 3 times. And there is a very simple, very little effort on your part quittance you might offer your daring, darling savior.
Go on.
Allow me to accompany you.
No.
But you haven't
Absolutely not.
Well, now you're just being rude.
You saw what happened back there. You almost died.
I believe the endangered soul was yourself, Mr. Sawyer. And it was I who was aptly armed and freed you thrice from your grisly demise.
My answer, Doctor, is no.
At the very least, allow me to see this out. Once you have heroically vanquished the Letitia Medusa, I shall be out of your hair. I have business to attend in Mercy, after all. We will part ways free of debt and one another. Do we have a deal, Mr. Sawyer?
Deal.
Keep it. Looks like you need it.
More than you know.
All right. Talk me through it. From the very start.
Huh?
Clearly, this isn't your first encounter with a preternatural creature. Well, my book isn't going to write itself.
Strange things been going on for a while now in Mercy. Well, not just in Mercy. Got the surrounding villages and in other areas of Temperance. Though I ain't been around the state since landing in Mercy.
You don't say. So you aren't a local?
God, no. I stumbled into Mercy 2 years back. Ain't left ever since.
Why's that?
Folk were having a hard time. With the strange goings-on and the new policies and all. Things had to get done, and I could get them done.
That is awfully ambiguous, Mr. Sawyer.
And you? How's a highfalutin professor like yourself get to be such a crack shot?
It's a fancy of mine. Helps me wind down after a stressful disquisition. Perhaps you could enlighten me on why a man in such perilous employment hasn't armed himself with proper munitions. Sans a bottle of kerosene, of course.
Never needed it before.
Until today.
You were doing the shooting.
You are unfathomably stubborn, Mr. Sawyer. If I were any other woman, I might say it was charming.
What? You don't find me charming?
Unfortunately, your machismo is much too coarse for my fair proclivities.
Oh? Oh.
Indeed.
That's right bold.
For speaking my truth? Does it bother you, Mr. Sawyer? Make you all hot under the collar? Worry not. I dare say the devil is far too busy to lure you into my sort of depravity.
No. I've heard about it. At least amongst the men. Loggers and miners and such. Didn't know it happened with the women folk, too.
Quite. And quite often.
We don't say much after that. At least, I don't say much. I just sit there by the fire down in backwash benzene, listening to Gray worker flap about this or that. Don't understand half the things she says, but I reckon I could listen to her till the sun comes up. Makes me feel like the world ain't so different. That my dragon ain't still alive, waiting to strike another innocent fool down 'cause I was too yellow to hold a damn gun. You walk light for a lady.
I lost most of my research when the wagon crashed. Countless hours of work turned to muddy pulp.
That's a real shame.
And you? Do you usually carry a satchel of broken glass during your... well, whatever is it you do?
Don't see no point in packing more than a day's worth.
That seems rather short-sighted. What about food? Water? Bedding?
Things just tend to work out.
You are a rather odd man, Mr. Sawyer. Perhaps I should be studying you instead.
Won't take you more than a few minutes, I reckon. Come on. Hey, miss. What's going on here?
They found Clayton cold dead. Just like Buck.
Colt's boy? Mm-hmm. Damn.
Mr. Sawyer, look, his body...
I know.
It appears that the deceased was a victim of exsanguination. His skin is an ashen gray, not a color to them. And his eyes, good Lord, his eyes, they appear to have burst in his skull.
Well, he did it to himself. My brother Emos saw it happen. Thought Clayton was having a conniption till he dropped dead to the ground, looking
Thank
like...
you, miss.
You take care now.
It appears our Letitia Medusa has struck again.
Well, don't sound too happy.
Oh, use that hunk of meat between your ears, Mr. Sawyer. This is our opportunity to catch it once and for all.
There ain't no catching a beast like that. We gotta burn it up.
But that seems such an awful
He's
waste.
a vampire. I heard about them devilish creatures afore. Worse than witches they are. They come out at night and feed upon innocent folk, sucking up every drop of blood from their bodies till they shrivel up and perish.
The Black Widow. Up on Old Serenity Ridge.
Shit, Abigail Thompson. Ain't this how her husband died?
I was certain she was a witch. Never showing her face. Always cloistered away in that gloomy old house. Pale as a corpse, she is.
This must be her doing. She's a vampire. A devilish vampire, I tell
Damn
you, by the
fools.
Lord.
The lot of them.
And she ain't stopping till
Couldn't
we're
tell
all
skunks
dead.
for house cats.
What do we do? Surely they won't attack that poor woman.
Reckon she'll be burned at the stake by noon.
How barbaric.
You got that gun of yours?
Always.
Come on. I got a feeling that our Letitia Medusa ain't had its fill just yet.
Letitia. Right. Yes, I'm coming.
Miss Thompson? Miss Abigail Thompson? Miss Thompson, we're here to help you. Everyone seems to believe you're behind 2 deaths. One of them is recent as this morning.
I didn't do anything.
Yes, ma'am. We know that. But those folk down there, they ain't too happy, Miss Thompson.
They think you're a vampire. Isn't that preposterous?
We believe you're in danger.
But not to worry. I have a gun. And according to Mr. Sawyer here, I'm a rather, crack shot.
Who are you people? Why are you helping me?
I'm Sawyer. This is Gray.
Dr. Daisy Gray, at your service, Mrs. Thompson.
And we happen to know the real perpetrator behind those deaths, including, I suspect, your late husband's.
Come in. Hurry, before anyone sees you.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson.
Can I get you anything? Tea? Coffee?
Ooh, I'd love a
Your
cup of...
husband's death, ma'am.
Oh, yes, pray, do tell us what happened. And don't leave a single detail out.
Gray.
That's quite all right, Mr. Sawyer. Yes, Roger's death. Well, it happened 6 months ago. He was a rancher, working on Mayor Strauss's farm.
Wait, Obadiah Strauss? The mayor of Mercy has farmland here?
Has so for many generations, yes.
Interesting. Carry on.
Well, Roger was a good worker. He mainly took care of the horses. Loved them to bits, he did. One night there was a bad storm, much like the one yesterday. Winds blew hard enough to strip the trees. Roger was worried about the horses, weren't sure if they were being properly taken care of. Horses get real spooked during storms, he said. And I didn't want him to leave. It was the middle of the night and the rain was coming down hard. But Roger, he loved those horses. I used to jest and say he loved them more than me.
So he left, but never came back.
Hours went past. He knew I was a worrier. He knew not to stay out for too long. So I went to the farm myself, with naught but a shawl and an oil lamp. And he weren't there. The horses were kicking up a fuss, bucking and screaming and frothing at the mouth. And my Roger was nowhere to be seen. Only...
What is it?
I can't rightly explain it, Doctor. And I'm sure you'd think I was quite mad at the time, but I assure you, I know what I saw.
You have villagers with pitchforks on their way up here, Mrs. Thompson.
Right. Yes, of course. I was coming out of the stables when I saw them. 3 hooded figures in the middle of the cornfield. It was past harvest, so the stalks were shorn low. What they were doing there, I don't rightly know, but they were raising their hands up in the air. And when I looked up, I saw the white flash in the night sky, swarming, teeming jellyfish, red as blood and the sound of laughter, as if there were 1,000 people high in the sky laughing at my plight. And so I ran. I ran all the way home, locked the doors and windows, and hid beneath my bed like a child. I didn't get a wink of sleep. In the morning, Mr. Colt came to my door and told me they found poor Roger, dead in a ditch behind the saloon, drenched in beer. They called it an accident, a drunken blunder. But the thing is, my Roger didn't drink, never enjoyed it. And after I saw the body, I knew someone or something took my Roger away from me. But no one believed me. They called me mad, called me a fool, called me a witch who cursed her husband.
And now it's happening again.
I don't think it ever stopped.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sawyer?
I ain't checked myself yet, but if we were to visit Dignity 10 miles south and Clarity 8 miles north, they'd have similar deaths reported over the past 6 months. I'm sure of it.
An interesting hypothesis.
It ain't a hype of nothing. You saw how hungry that thing was yesterday. And so far, we only got livestock and 3 human deaths in Bliss. There's gotta be more we ain't aware of yet.
What about Mercy? They could be feeding there. A large city like that, it's easy to go missing.
Excuse me, Mr. Sawyer, Dr. Gray. You said you know what killed my husband?
Letitia Medusa.
It may be difficult to believe.
No more difficult than my Roger drinking himself to death.
It's an anomalous, undiscovered creature. Remarkably similar to those flying jellyfish you witnessed that night.
You mean to say...
What you saw was very much real, Mrs. Thompson.
I knew it. I knew it was real. I know what I saw.
What? Only now our troubles have exponentially increased with your troubling testimony.
How so?
We were almost eaten by the one we saw yesterday. Barely escaped by the skin of our teeth thanks to my sharpshooting. And you claim to have seen, what was it, a swarm?
It appeared so. 10 or so, I'd say.
Shit.
Mr. Sawyer.
Come out peaceably, and we won't need to set fire to your lovely abode. Murderer, witch, vampire. Come out, you heathen, and face the holy judgment of the Lord Almighty.
Murder, witch, vampire. Like the unholy trinity. Can't they make up their minds?
What shall I do? They seem so angry.
Stay put, my dear, and allow me and my associates to take care of the angry mob.
Perhaps I should go outside and speak to them. If we tell them about the creatures...
They're holding shotguns, Mrs. Thompson. They ain't here to talk.
No, they want blood. Speaking of, Mr. Sawyer, I believe you are bleeding. Have been for a while.
Shit. And you only thought to mention it now?
I thought it could prove useful.
Useful? How?
Well, you wanted to be bait, did you not?
Gray,
Sit tight, Mrs. Thompson. This may take a while. Oh, and Mr. Sawyer, I'd advise you to close the curtains and step away from the window, lest I'm forced to save your life again. What in the blazes are you doing?
Those things want my blood. I'm gonna lead them away from here.
No.
But they're all gonna die.
Who? Oh, you mean the nasty trigger-happy horde of men who threatened to burn an innocent woman alive? Yes, what a shame.
Move aside, Gray.
I'd rather not.
Fine. What are you doing, Gray? You gonna shoot me?
I'd rather not. We could avoid such unpleasantry if you simply stayed put, Mr. Sawyer.
Let those men die?
We're all dead if you open that door. If there should be survivors from this travesty, I would rather it be us. Wouldn't you?
You're a cold woman, Daisy Gray.
Do not mistake my rationality for callousness, Mr. Sawyer. Mrs. Thompson, what say you? Should we let those wretched souls inside, keeping in mind that to do so would be a death sentence for everyone, including us?
How silly of them. To be drinking so heavily this early in the morn.
I'm frozen in my indecision. Gun or not, I got a choice to make. But the last time I made such a choice, it ended with me disgraced and badgeless, and the blood of an entire family on my hands. Is the doctor right? Is to open that door condemning us? Do I dare presume to know better than a doctor who speaks with such conviction? I'm sure she could talk circles round the devil himself. No, I do not. We sit there, the three of us, drinking whiskey and listening to them die, one by one by one. And the laughter, that goddamned laughter.
I'm sorry, Sawyer.
At some point, I start dreaming. Wide awake, drink in hand. I dream.
Push me harder, Ahab.
I'm trying. You've gotten heavy.
It is rude to speak about a lady's weight.
Oh, my apologies, Lady Skinner.
You Bates men are as weak as you are lily-livered. How could you be so awful at pushing me on the swing? It takes nothing more than a bit of brute force.
I'm what they call the runt of the litter.
Oh, is that why they all pick on you so?
Who picks on me?
Your comrades in Carmine. The things they call you when you're out of earshot. Really, Ahab, you ought to do something about your shoddy reputation.
Well, they don't call me Ahab out of affection.
I think it's a stellar name.
You do?
I always thought he was rather dashing. So singular in his obsession, he brought about his own demise.
Ain't it a cautionary tale?
Cautionary to who exactly? Government officials? Soft-palmed nobles, certainly. But to a man like you, it keeps your heart pumping. Cautionary it is not, but rather aspiration. You are a man who would strike the sun if it so offended you.
He ain't a man to admire, Mal. Took his ship and crew down with him. Man like that ain't worth a dime of admiration.
So, be better.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that?
You big lug, whatever would you do without me?
The warm afternoon light streams in through the gaps in the curtains like orange blades in the gloom. Hours have passed, and I don't remember any of it.
Sawyer, wait!
What in the hell?
What is this? Snow?
No? No, it's not cold. It's more like ash. Like... Oh my heavens. It's...
People. It's people. Or what's left of them. We stand there, ankle deep in the remains of the dead, watching the abominations float toward the horizon like bobbing red balloons. There are...
That is not a swarm. That there is a veritable army. An infestation.
There are hundreds. Hundreds of those goddamn bloodsuckers. And all of them were heading in one direction.
Mr. Sawyer! They're going west.
They're going towards Mercy.
Mercy, Episode 1, Bliss. Starring Austin Sharp as Wayne Sawyer, Aurora Ave-Lallemant as Dr. Daisy Gray, Bree Frankel as Lady Malachi Skinner, James Reece as Villagers Number 1 and Number 2, Sneha Kumar as Abigail Thompson. Written and edited by Jae-in Hwan. This has been brought to you by the Strange Kind Studio.